was a Tuesday afternoon, a day when the office hummed with quiet dedication. I was immersed in quarterly sales data, spreadsheets fanning out across my desk like an intricate puzzle. The door to my office burst open without warning. Martin stormed in, his face flushed, his presence intentionally loud, as if to unnerve me. "Elena," he blurted, throwing a file onto my desk so forcefully it skidded to the edge. "We need to talk now." My heart skipped a beat, but I maintained a composed expression, a skill I'd honed over the years. I looked up at the man I'd reported to for 4 years and calmly said, "Of course," indicating the chair opposite me. He remained standing, his shadow stretching over my papers, his eyes narrowed as if scrutinizing me for some unknown purpose. "The board has decided to restructure the leadership team," he announced. His voice was clipped and cold, as if rehearsed. "We're moving in a different direction, and frankly, we need leaders, not just spreadsheet followers." I blinked, the words landing like an unexpected blow. "You're letting me go?" I asked, my voice barely audible, more from shock than anything else. He smirked, a cruel, satisfied twist of his lips, like a triumphant athlete. "Let's not overreact," he said. "We're releasing you from your position effective immediately." No warning, no performance review, no acknowledgement that my department had just achieved the highest revenue growth in 3 years. Just him standing over me as if I'd already been erased from existence. That moment is seared into my memory. The fluorescent lights buzzing, the faint aroma of coffee, the crushing weight of his words. I could have screamed or cried, but I didn't. I simply sat there, steady, and replied, "I see. May I ask why?" His answer came quickly, sharply, as if he'd been eager to deliver it. "You lack foresight. You manage tasks, not people. And honestly, this industry demands strong leadership, assertiveness, confidence, traits you haven't exactly demonstrated." There it was, barely disguised, a personal jab wrapped in corporate jargon. He didn't perceive me as a leader, not because of my results, but because I didn't fit his prejudiced mold, because I was a woman in a space he believed belonged to men like him. I nodded, my voice calm and neutral. "I understand." He squinted at me, thrown off. I think he expected a confrontation, an outburst he could use to validate his point. But I had long since mastered the art of composure in rooms filled with inflated egos. "I'll need your badge and company laptop by the end of the day," he added, already turning away. "Your access will be disabled by 5 p.m. HR has your severance details." I stood, extended my hand and said, "Thank you, Martin. I appreciate the clarity." He hesitated, shook my hand and muttered, "Good luck out there," before exiting, clearly satisfied with himself. I sat back down, exhaled slowly, and gazed at the framed photograph on my desk. It was my father, smiling at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the company's first regional office, the very company Martin had just dismissed me from. My hands didn't tremble. My breathing didn't quicken. In fact, I felt lighter. Because what Martin didn't know, what no one in that building knew, was that I wasn't just some department head he could casually discard. 2 weeks prior, something momentous had shifted, and I had been biding my time for the opportune moment to reveal it. I traced the edge of the photo frame and whispered, "You told me to wait, Dad. Wait until the time was right, and now it is." Let me take you back a little so you can understand why this dismissal stung so deeply, and why it paved the way for everything that followed. My father, James Wren, built this company from nothing. Renee, as it was called, began as a small tech startup in a rented garage, just him and a handful of visionaries experimenting with code and circuits. He possessed a vision not only of innovation, but also of people. He believed a company was not merely its products or its profits. It was the individuals who showed up every day to make it a reality. I grew up in that environment. As a child, I'd spend weekends at his office, sprawling under his desk with crayons while he worked. He'd take me to meetings, introduce me to his team, point at a server rack and say, "Elena, this is how we build things." with hard work, with ideas, and with trust. He'd ruffle my hair and grin, and I'd feel like I was a part of something significant. When he passed away 5 years ago, a sudden heart attack that stole him from us, I was 25, fresh out of college, and heartbroken. The company felt his absence too. He had been its soul, and without him, it began to falter. I joined Renee not long after, starting at the bottom, just as he had always wanted me to. "You've gotta earn it, Elena," he'd said. "Know every piece of this place." So I did. I worked in customer support, in logistics, in marketing, absorbing everything. I loved it. The chaos, the challenges, the quiet triumphs when a project successfully came together. But then Martin arrived. Martin reappeared a year after Dad died. All charm and impressive credentials. A Harvard MBA, slick suits, a handshake that lingered just long enough to feel calculated. The board was captivated. They saw him as the future, a numbers man who would modernize us. But I saw what they didn't. He wasn't about people. He was about power. He began cutting corners, laying off longtime employees who had been with us from the start, replacing them with cheaper hires who had no knowledge of our history. He transformed meetings into his personal stage, dismissing ideas that didn't originate from him or his inner circle. The culture my father had built, warm, collaborative, human, began to erode, and I was just another voice he chose to ignore. I stayed, though. I believed I could protect what remained of Dad's legacy. I worked harder than ever, leading my team with the same care he had shown. I'd propose strategies, like the time I pitched a marketing plan that could have saved us millions, and Martin would dismiss it as too risky, only to present it as his own a week later. I'd sit there, biting my tongue, watching him claim credit for my efforts. It wasn't just me he overlooked. It was anyone who didn't conform. Women, introverted individuals, people who cared more about tangible results than superficial appearances. He would stride through the office like a monarch, dispensing condescending remarks, expecting us to scramble. And I did scramble, not for him, but for the company I still believed in. Day after day, I poured myself into that place. I'd stay late, poring over data, refining projects, rallying my team. When morale dipped, we still achieved milestones, like that software platform we built from the ground up. It was grueling. My team and I pulled all-nighters, fueled by coffee and sheer determination. When it launched, it was a resounding success. Sales soared, industry blogs raved. I was incredibly proud of us. But at the celebration party, Martin took the stage, glass raised, and toasted his own leadership. Not a single word about the people who had made it happen. I stood at the back, arms crossed, watching him bask in the glory. My team deserved that recognition, not him. But I didn't confront him. I just offered a faint smile and continued on. There were nights I'd sit in my office after everyone had left, the hum of the building fading into silence, and wonder, am I enough? I'd replay Martin's words. You lack vision. You're not assertive. And feel a gnawing self-doubt. Was he right? Was I too gentle? Too reserved? But then I'd think of my father, how he led with kindness and still built an empire. No, I'd tell myself, it's not me, it's him. He doesn't see value unless it's loud and boorish. I had allies, though, small beacons in the fog. Sarah from accounting, who'd discreetly offer me a coffee and a grin when I looked exhausted. You're the real deal, Elena, she'd say. Tom from engineering, who'd nod in agreement with my ideas even when Martin dismissed them. They saw me, even if he didn't, and that kept me going. One night, I was working late again when Martin passed by my open door. My desk lamp cast a soft glow over the disarray of papers and empty coffee cups. He leaned in, smirking. Burning the midnight oil, huh? Dedication's admirable, but it doesn't win wars. I looked up, tired but resolute. Perhaps not, I said, but it builds things that endure. He chuckled as if I'd uttered something amusing and walked off. I stared at the empty doorway, frustration simmering. He thought I was insignificant. He had no idea what was coming. Everything changed on my 30th birthday. I awoke to sunlight streaming through my apartment window, a quiet warmth enveloping me. I wasn't one for big birthday celebrations, usually too busy, but this one felt different. Mid-morning, my phone buzzed. It was Mr. Harrington, our family lawyer. His voice was warm but enigmatic. "Elena, I have something for you. Your father left instructions. You're not to see it until today." Curious, I drove to his office, a comfortable space with wood-paneled walls and the faint scent of old books. He handed me an envelope sealed with Dad's wax stamp, the one he used for special letters. My fingers hesitated as I broke the seal. Inside was a letter in his neat handwriting, and behind it, a formal document. I unfolded the letter first. "Elena," it began, "if you're reading this, you've turned 30, and that means you're ready." I never doubted it, not for a second. You've spent your life working twice as hard for half the recognition. I saw it even when you thought I didn't. The sacrifices, the late nights, the integrity no one else noticed. I also saw how the company changed after I left, and I knew there might come a time when you'd need more than a seat at the table. So I gave you the table. My breath hitched. Tears pricked my eyes as I turned to the document, a trust agreement. It stated that 90% of Rensi's shares had been placed in my name, held until I turned 30, with full voting rights activated. Now I own the company, 90%, me. I read it again, then a third time, my hands trembling. "Is this real?" I asked Mr. Harrington, my voice shaky. "Yes," he said, as calm as ever. "Your father structured it to stay off public records. It's airtight. The board doesn't know, unless you tell them." I sat there, stunned, adrenaline surging through me. "Why not sooner?" I asked. He smiled faintly. He wanted you to see the company for yourself first, to know who would reveal their true colors before you decided what to do. That hit me like a wave. All those years of being underestimated, talked over, dismissed, Dad had seen it. He'd known I'd need leverage, not just a title. And now I had it. I didn't rush in, guns blazing. I needed a plan. I met with Mr. Harrington again, reviewing the legal steps. "We can call a shareholder meeting," he said. "With your shares, you control the agenda." I nodded. "Not yet. I'll tell you when." I wanted Martin to feel secure, to think he had won. Let him underestimate me one last time. 2 weeks later, he fired me and provided the perfect opening. I texted Mr. Harrington that afternoon. "It's time. Prepare everything." He replied instantly. "Understood. Meeting set in 5 business days." The day I was fired, I packed up quietly. A mug my team had given me, some notebooks filled with ideas Martin had ignored. That photo of Dad. The office buzzed with whispers as I left. Colleagues offered sympathetic glances or avoided my gaze. No one asked, but I could feel their unspoken questions. What happened? Did she mess up? I stepped outside, sunlight warming my face, and smiled. Just a small, private smile. They thought this was the end. They were so wrong. The next few days I prepared diligently. I met Mr. Harrington in a downtown cafe, sipping a flat white as he slid the final documents across the table. "Are you sure?" he asked. "This will be a grenade in their boardroom." I met his gaze. They pulled the pin when they fired me. I also sat down with Caroline Winters, the trustee who had managed the shares. She handed me a folder, ownership papers, plus a damning summary of Martin's tenure. Declining morale, high turnover, flat revenue despite a booming market. "He's been coasting on hype," she said. "He'll ruin this place in 2 years if he stays." I nodded. The numbers will do the talking. Monday arrived and rumors were rampant. Texts from former colleagues pinged my phone. "Did you quit? Martin's acting normal, but HR's weird about it." "Hope you're okay." I didn't reply. Silence was my ally. That night I stood in front of my mirror, trying on a navy suit I'd bought ages ago but never worn. Sharp, tailored, the kind you wear to command a room. I practiced a few lines, not a speech. Just the unvarnished truth. plain and clear. Tuesday morning, I walked into Renee, past the receptionist, who blinked twice but didn't stop me. Mr. Harrington met me by the elevators. "They're in there," he said. "Martin thinks it's a strategy review." I smoothed my jacket, took a deep breath, and stepped forward. The boardroom door clicked open, heads turned. Martin was mid-sentence, gesturing grandly, and froze when he saw me. "Elena," he snapped, "this is for board members only." I placed my documents on the table and smiled. "Exactly." I took the head seat. Silence fell like a heavy stone. Martin stared, confusion morphing into disbelief. "This is a board meeting," he said, sharper now. "Employees aren't—" "I'm not here as an employee," I cut in, calm but firm. "I'm here as the majority shareholder." The room shifted. Board members sat up, some curious, some tense. Mr. Dalton, an old-timer from Dad's era, peered at the papers I'd slid him. "Is this accurate?" he asked. "Yes," I said. 90% of the shares transferred to me via trust on my 30th birthday. All legal, notarized, filed. Martin scoffed, loud and desperate. "You can't be serious. Why would your father—" "Because he trusted me," I said, cutting through his bluster. "And because he knew what this company needed." I opened the second folder. As majority shareholder, I've called this meeting to review executive leadership, starting with the CEO. Martin shot up, face red. "This is a coup, a vendetta." I raised my voice just enough. "I'm not asking, I'm acting." I slid the financial report across the table. "Let's talk performance." The numbers were damning. Employee satisfaction down 38%, turnover up 47%, 3 discrimination complaints languishing in HR, revenue flat while competitors soared. I laid it all out, testimony from staff, audits, proof of Martin's extravagance, lavish trips, bloated bonuses, fudged reports. "All under your watch," I said, locking eyes with him. He sputtered. "You're twisting this for revenge." "I don't need to twist," I replied. "I have facts. You banked on no one challenging you. That ends now." I pulled out the final paper. "Effective immediately. I'm moving to remove Martin Ree as CEO. My 90% vote carries it." The secretary gaped. "You don't need a second—" "Not with a majority," I said. Mr. Dalton nodded. "Motion stands." Martin slammed the table, but he didn't fight long. He stormed out, rage contorting his face. And for the first time, he didn't appear powerful, just insignificant. I turned to the board. "This company deserves better. So do its people. Starting today, that's what we'll give them." Mr. Dalton smiled faintly. "Welcome back, Elena." I didn't stop at firing him. Taking him down felt good, sharp, satisfying. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about rebuilding. That Monday, I called an all-hands meeting in the main hall. The room filled slowly, employees wary, curious. I stood alone, without notes, just me. "Some of you know me," I began. "Some only know what you've heard. But I'm here to restore trust." I smiled faintly. "I was fired last week, told I wasn't what this place needed." I didn't argue, not then. Because leadership isn't about shouting, it's about vision and respect. A few laughs broke the tension. They were listening. "For years, this company thrived because of you, your ideas, your grit, your belief in it. That got lost. Starting today, it comes back." I spent weeks listening, meeting everyone from interns to custodians, asking what they needed. I promoted Maya, who had been a cornerstone in customer service, to lead client experience. I rehired Kevin, a developer Martin had driven away. I restructured HR, terminated managers who had fostered a climate of fear, and launched the People First initiative. Recognition for all, no more glass ceilings. The shift was gradual, then rapid. Laughter returned to the break room. Desks sprouted plants and personal photos. One day, I saw a whiteboard note. "She came back." Not "she won." "She came back." That resonated deeper than any title. A year later, I stood at the glass doors as CEO. My suit was crisp. A sense of peace settled within me. It was our strongest quarter in 5 years. Revenue was up, retention soaring, all achieved ethically. The office felt alive again, reminiscent of Dad's days. I kept his portrait behind my desk, a silent reminder. We did it, I whispered to him one night, alone with the city lights outside. This wasn't just a victory, it was coming home. If this story moved you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more. Drop a comment, tell me your thoughts, your own stories. Let's build something real together. Thanks for being here.